Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today, Judge Middleton is sentencing a repeat offender for a DUI charge after he relapsed on drugs and alcohol and then crashed his vehicle into several other people's cars and acted like an ass to the police. Will his sentence be long enough that he loses his disability checks? Let's find out.
Mr. John Bush is here on behalf of the defendant, Stephen Brewer. He logged in earlier this morning. Mr. Brewer, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Also, Mr. Sean Haley is here on a Three Rivers Ordinance case, which we'll be addressing in a minute. Mr. Daniel Frazine did the screening report as to Mr. Haley, and Mr. Matt Huff did the screening report as to Mr. Brewer. Both of these have got some difficult aspects to them. Let's start with Mr. Brewer. Mr. Brewer,
Yes.
What's your date of birth?
7/20/79.
All right. I can't see you, and that's always a little problematic when you're doing criminal sentences. Can you turn your... There.
How about now?
All right. Okay. Very good. This is file 202409. It's a charge of operating while intoxicated. Defendant was charged with a high blood alcohol level as a first offense and pled to operating while intoxicated under the Sturgis Ordinance, I believe.
This one is county, I believe, Your Honor.
Yes, it is. Matt has prepared a screening report. There's a lot going on here. Mr. Bush, what would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, I'd like you to know that it's been 8 years since I had a ticket or DUI or any trouble at all, and I had a relapse on alcohol, and it's not a problem now as far as the drinking goes. And that's
all right, Mr. Brewer, just hang tight for a minute. I'll hear from you in a minute. Right now, it's your lawyer's turn to talk, and we'll get to you here momentarily. All right, Mr. Bush.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Brewer obviously can explain why there was a breakdown. He wasn't able to have his interview with Matt Huff. He has historically always been easy for me to communicate with, and I haven't had any communications dealing with him throughout this case. A little bit what he just said, there's been quite a gap in drinking and driving, better than 8.5 years since his most recent conviction. He is still on probation in the state of Indiana for that possession of marijuana charge. So I think that a second probation would probably not really accomplish anything in this case today. He receives SSI for disability for a mental disorder, as he explained to me. He does have obligations to take care of in the state of Indiana on that probation. He does have a GED, but probably not likely to be involved in competitive employment because of his disability. He has spent, I believe, a week in jail already on this case. The guidelines that were calculated show a sentence between 33 and 50%. I see no reason to deviate on the beyond the upper end of those guidelines. Thank you.
Ms. Davis, what's your opinion here?
Your Honor, if I may, can we have the defendant speak if he would like to first before I make my recommendation?
Yes. Mr. Brewer, I spoke to you briefly this morning, and here you are. You never actually made it to the screening process with the probation officer. What would you like me to know?
I got a bundle of papers, and I thought that's what it was. I thought that was the screening. I had questions about alcohol on there, and I thought that's what that was. I didn't know I had to physically, I never meet him or anything. I guess I should have told him.
What else would you like me to know?
Just I'm sorry. I'm ashamed of myself, and everybody's paid off and their cars are fixed. Nobody's hurt. I'm sorry.
All right. Ms. Davis?
Well, Your Honor, I was not present for the last pretrial where this was decided upon, but I did, in preparation for the sentencing, review all of the documentation that we have, which includes several body cams and a dash cam from a citizen that was following the one vehicle that was hit. And it's very concerning. I mean, to see this vehicle that Mr. Brewer was driving completely disregard a stop sign. It appeared he didn't even hit his brakes, and he plowed into a truck and a utility trailer, completely turning that truck the opposite way. How nobody was injured, including Mr. Brewer himself, I have no idea. The truck that he hit in turn hit another vehicle that was parked or stopped at the stop sign, coming the opposite way. So lots of lives were affected by his choice to consume alcohol and amphetamine. And methamphetamine was in his system. It was detected but not quantified. But that still is concerning. If he's on a probation in Indiana for marijuana, he's got multiple prior OWIs. Why didn't charge this, or somebody didn't charge this as a felony originally? I don't know. So here we are today. The body cams, Mr. Brewer was extremely disruptive and rude to the officers. Maybe it was just because he was extremely intoxicated and coming down from other drugs, but he's lucky that the police are more patient than I am, or he would have probably had a resisting and obstructing for his behavior at the hospital when they were trying to get the blood draw. So the fact that he didn't care enough to call in and speak with Mr. Huff and maybe tell us about maybe treatment or something that he's doing, other than just showing up today and saying, oops, I had a relapse, I'm glad nobody was hurt. His previous OWI, the most recent one, I should say, he spent a full year in jail. He spent 6 months in jail for disorderly conduct that same year. So I guess jail hasn't really fixed him, but in order to keep society safe, I'm asking for the maximum 93 days in this case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Huff, anything you wish to add?
I would just add, so that it's clear and on the record, that Mr. Brewer was contacted probably about a dozen or so times via telephone, at least the number that was listed, as well as I mailed out a notice to him physically at his address listed on the court file. And it specifically stated that he needed to call the probation department. I don't know what's going on with the mail or the phone, but that's the efforts that we took in order to reach him. That being said, obviously, I'm not able to make the best recommendation, not actually getting to speak with Mr. Brewer, but if I simply just look at the case facts, his criminal history, the fact that he's on probation already, the fact that this isn't his first drunk driving that's involved in an accident, I do think that a good chunk of jail is appropriate in this case. I don't think that, I would agree with Mr. Bush, I don't think that another term of probation is really going to do anything. So I recommended 90 days jail, and to give him credit for the 7, despite the sentencing guidelines being where they were. There is also a restitution of $255 to Sturgis Police Department.
Defendant's on Social Security disability, and if he goes to jail for more than 30 days, he's going to lose his disability. That's always a factor. But I tend to agree with everybody's opinion that jail is warranted here. He was out of it. He was a .228, and he said, those people hit me. Well, they hit him because he blew the stop sign, and he was blaming the other driver. But in that equation, my vote goes to the people that were not 3 times the lawful limit of alcohol. And as you indicated, the video shows he just blew the stop sign. You're all right. He did. They don't mess around on in Indiana. He did 6 months, and then he failed to stop in an accident causing injury. He got a year in jail, and now he's on probation in Indiana. There's no sense of doing another probation. I'm going to order 35 days jail, credit 7, leaving 28 days to serve, which should not affect his Social Security disability. There's certainly an argument in favor of 93 days, but I'll leave that to Indiana. Matt, I'd like you to inform his Indiana probation agent of this sentence.
Will do, Your Honor.
There's a $300 fine, a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee. There is no screening fee because he didn't show up. There's a $150 attorney fee and a $225 reimbursement to the Sturgis Police Department. We do have $500 in bond here. That's not right. 300 plus 75. 75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $150 attorney fee, and a $255 police reimbursement is $530. That's still not right. Oh, $530. 120. There's a $120 attorney fee. I'm going to make the fine 0. That comes out to $500. 75, 50, 120, and 255 equals $500. I use the bond. I don't want to chase him for money. Mr. Brewer, you're to turn yourself in tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Your sentence begins at 7 p.m. on April 1.
Tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'll be there.
All right. 1 month non-reporting probation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Brewer, I've had far too many vehicular death cases lately. I'm glad this wasn't another one. Your mental illness is accountable for some of your lack of following through on the requirements, but it isn't a get out of jail free card on a drunk driving case where people could have been killed. I did make a compromise to not lose your Social Security disability. Your Indiana probation officer may feel differently about that. All right, be at the St. Joe County Jail tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it. I'll be there.
Thank you, Judge. Good luck, Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, John.